You just got a raise. Finally, after months of grinding, you check your bank account a few weeks later and somehow, you're not any richer. In fact, you might be more stressed than before. What happened? Where did it go? You didn't blow it on anything crazy. You didn't go on some wild shopping spree. You just lived. And that's the problem, because lifestyle inflation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock on your door and say, "Hey, I'm about to quietly steal your financial future." It just happens, one upgrade at a time, one convenience at a time. And before you know it, you're making more money than ever, but you feel broke. So today, we are going to talk about the slow creep of lifestyle inflation, how it works, why it feels so normal, and what you can do about it before it's too late. But before we dive in, do me a favor. If you've ever felt like you're making more money but somehow still living paycheck to paycheck, hit that like button. And if you want more content like this, real talk about money, psychology, and how to actually build wealth without the hype, go ahead and subscribe. It helps more than you think. Alright, let's get into it. Here's the thing, most people don't realize. Lifestyle inflation isn't about being irresponsible. It's not about buying a sports car or booking a first-class ticket to Dubai. That's not how it works for most of us. Lifestyle inflation is subtle. It's invisible. It's the kind of thing that feels totally reasonable in the moment. You're not being reckless. You're just making life a little easier, a little more comfortable. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Think about it. You get a promotion. You're excited. You've been working hard. You deserve this. So you move into a nicer apartment. Not a mansion. Just a place with better lighting, a dishwasher, maybe a parking spot. Totally fair, right? Then you start ordering delivery more often because you're busier now. You upgrade your phone plan because you need more data. You buy nicer clothes because you're meeting clients. You get a car with lower mileage because the old one was stressing you out. None of these decisions feel like mistakes. In fact, they all make sense. But here's what just happened. Your income went up by 15%. Your expenses went up by 14%. And you barely noticed. That's lifestyle inflation. It's not dramatic. It's not a crisis. It's just a slow drift. And the scariest part, it feels like progress, because you are living better. Your life is more comfortable. You're not struggling the way you used to. But comfort and wealth are not the same thing. Comfort is what you feel today. Wealth is what you build for tomorrow. And if you're spending every dollar you make just to maintain comfort, you're not getting wealthier. You're just getting used to a more expensive version of broke. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying you should live like a monk. I'm not saying you should never upgrade your life. That's not realistic. And honestly, it's not healthy either. If you're making more money and you can't enjoy any of it, what's the point? But there's a difference between intentional upgrades and autopilot spending. And most people are on autopilot. They don't sit down and say, "Okay, I got a raise. Here's how I'm going to allocate it." They just start spending a little more here, a little more there. And 6 months later, they're wondering why their savings account looks exactly the same as it did before the raise. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're making $50,000 a year. You get a raise to $60,000. That's $10,000 extra dollars a year. Sounds like a lot, right? But after taxes, that's probably around $7,000, so you're taking home about $580 more per month. Now, here's what happens. You move to a nicer apartment. That's $200 more a month. You start going out to eat more, because you have less time and more money. That's another $150. You upgrade your car insurance because you got a newer car. That's $50. You subscribe to a couple new streaming services and apps. That's $30. You buy better groceries because you want to eat healthier. That's another $100. And just like that, you've spent $530. You're already over your raise, and none of those purchases felt irresponsible. Every single one made sense in the moment. So what do? You start using your credit card a little more. You tell yourself it's fine, you'll pay it off next month. But next month, the same thing happens, and the month after that, and suddenly, you're making $60,000 a year. And you feel exactly the same as you did when you were making 50, maybe worse, because now you have more responsibilities, more bills, more stress. You upgraded your lifestyle, but you didn't upgrade your wealth. And that's the trap. Here's the psychology behind it. As humans, we adapt. It's called hedonic adaptation. When something good happens, we feel great for a little while, and then we get used to it. That new apartment felt amazing the first month. By month 3, it's just your apartment. That nicer car felt like a dream the first week. Now it's just how you get to work. We adapt to comfort. And once we adapt, we start looking for the next upgrade. Because we are chasing that feeling again. That feeling of progress. That feeling of finally making it. But the problem is, the feeling doesn't last. The spending does. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Society rewards visible success. Nobody sees your savings account. Nobody sees your retirement contributions. But they do see your car. They see your clothes. They see where you live. And whether we want to admit it or not, that influences us. We start spending money to signal success, even if we're not actually building it. And social media makes it worse. You see people your age traveling, eating at nice restaurants, wearing designer brands, and you think, I should be able to do that too. I work hard, I deserve this. And you're right, you do deserve nice things. But not at the expense of your future. Let me ask you something. If you're making twice as much as you did 5 years ago, but you're not saving any more than you were back then, are you really winning? Or are you just running faster on the same treadmill? Because that's what lifestyle inflation does. It keeps you stuck. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. You're earning more, but you're not building more. And the worst part, you don't realize it until it's too late. Until you're 45, making 6 figures, and you still can't afford to take a year off. You still can't quit a job you hate. You still feel trapped. Because your lifestyle is expensive, and you've built a life that requires every dollar you make just to maintain. So how do you stop it? How do you break the cycle without feeling like you're depriving yourself? Because that's the real challenge, right? Nobody wants to feel like they're going backwards. Nobody wants to feel like they're sacrificing while everyone else is living. So, here's what I suggest. Don't fight lifestyle inflation head-on. That doesn't work. Instead, create a system that makes it harder for lifestyle inflation to happen automatically. Here's what that looks like. First, automate your savings before you see the money. This is the most important step. When you get a raise, don't let that money hit your checking account and sit there, waiting to be spent. Immediately increase your retirement contributions. Increase your automatic transfer to savings. Treat your future self like a bill that has to be paid. Because if you wait until the end of the month to see what's left over, there won't be anything left over. There never is. But if you take it off the top, you won't even miss it. You'll adjust your lifestyle around what's left, not around what you make. Second, use the 50-30-20 rule. But flip it. Traditionally, it's 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings. But here's the problem. When your income goes up, your needs don't actually go up that much. You don't need a more expensive apartment. You don't need a fancier car. You want those things. And that's okay. But if you let your wants expand every time your income does, you'll never get ahead. So here's the flip. Every time you get a raise, put at least 50% of it towards savings or investments. You can spend the other 50 however you want. Upgrade your life. Enjoy it, but protect half of every raise. That way, your lifestyle improves, but so does your net worth. Third, set a lifestyle cap. This is a game changer. Decide right now what your ideal lifestyle looks like, not your dream mansion, private jet lifestyle. Your real, day-to-day, happy, comfortable lifestyle. What does that cost? Maybe it's a nice apartment, a reliable car, good food, a few trips a year, and some hobbies you enjoy. Let's say that costs you $5,000 a month. Great. Once your income allows you to live that life comfortably, stop inflating. Keep your lifestyle at that level, and let every dollar beyond that go toward building wealth. Because here's the truth. Once you hit a certain level of comfort, more spending doesn't make you happier. It just makes you busier and more stressed trying to maintain it. If this is hitting home, drop a comment below and let me know. Have you noticed lifestyle inflation creeping into your own life? What's one thing you upgraded that you didn't really need? Let's talk about it. And if you're getting value from this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Seriously, this is the kind of stuff people don't talk about enough. Now, let's talk about the emotional side of this. Because money isn't just math. If it were, we'd all be rich. Money is emotional. And lifestyle inflation thrives on emotions. It thrives on the feeling that you've earned it, that you deserve it, that you've worked hard. So why shouldn't you enjoy the rewards? And you're not wrong. You have worked hard. You do deserve good things. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you spending money to improve your life? Or are you spending money to prove something? Are you upgrading because it genuinely makes you happier, or because it makes you feel successful? Because there's a difference. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll probably realize that a lot of your spending is about the story you're retelling yourself and others, not about actual happiness. Here's a little exercise. Think about the last 5 things you spent money on that weren't necessities. Now ask yourself, did that purchase actually make my life better a month later, or did it just feel good in the moment? If it's the latter, that's lifestyle inflation. That's spending for the dopamine hit, not for lasting value. And the more you do that, the more you need to do it. It's like junk food for your finances. It tastes good going down, but it doesn't nourish you. Let me tell you a story. I know someone who made about $70,000 a year for most of their 20s. They lived in a decent apartment, drove an old car, cooked most of their meals, and saved aggressively. By 30, they had a solid emergency fund and a growing investment account. Then they got a big promotion, jumped to $110,000, and within a year, they were living in a luxury apartment, leasing a new car, eating out constantly, and traveling every other month. They felt successful. They looked successful. But when I asked how much they were saving, they said, about the same as before. Maybe a little less. Actually, things are just more expensive now. And that's the problem. They doubled their income and got zero financial benefit from it. They traded future freedom for present comfort. And they didn't even realize it until we had that conversation. Here's what I want you to understand. You can enjoy your money and build wealth at the same time. You don't have to choose. But you do have to be intentional. You have to decide what actually matters to you and spend on that, not on everything. Because when you spend on everything, you end up with nothing that really matters. You end up with a life that looks good on the outside but feels hollow on the inside. You end up working harder and harder just to maintain a lifestyle that doesn't even make you that happy. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, track every dollar you spend. Not to judge yourself. Not to feel guilty. Just to see where your money is actually going. Because I guarantee, there are things you're spending money on that you don't even remember a week later. Things that aren't adding value to your life. And once you see it, you can change it. You can redirect that money toward something that actually matters. Toward your freedom. Toward your future. Toward the life you actually want. Not the life you think you're supposed to want. And look, I get it. This stuff isn't easy. It's hard to say no when everyone around you is saying yes. It's hard to live below your means when your means keep growing. It's hard to delay gratification when the world is constantly telling you to treat yourself. But here's the thing. The people who build real wealth, the people who actually achieve financial freedom, they don't do it by spending every dollar they make. They do it by valuing their future as much as their present. They do it by understanding that every dollar they spend today is a dollar they can't invest tomorrow. And they make that trade-off consciously, not accidentally. So if you're feeling the weight of lifestyle inflation, if you're realizing that you're making more but not getting ahead, know that you're not alone, and know that it's not too late. You can course correct. You can decide right now that the next raise you get, the next bonus, the next windfall, you're going to handle it differently. You're going to protect your future self. You're going to build wealth, not just comfort. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What's one expense you've been thinking about cutting but haven't yet? Drop it in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable. And if this video helped you see your money differently, do me a favor and share it. Send it to a friend. Post it on your story, because this is the kind of conversation that changes lives. Alright, here's the bottom line. Lifestyle inflation isn't evil. It's human. But just because it's normal, doesn't mean it's good for you. You have the power to choose. You can let your lifestyle inflate with every raise, or you can let your wealth grow instead. You can chase comfort, or you can build freedom. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to be extreme about it. You don't have to live like you're broke when you're not. You just have to be intentional. You just have to decide that your future matters as much as your present. And when you do that, everything changes. You stop feeling stuck. You stop feeling stressed. You start feeling in control. And that, my friend, is worth more than any upgrade. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're serious about your money, and I respect that. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.